This is Jason Dill, and I'm joined as always by David Wilson. We here at the Bradenton Herald are bringing you the Bradenton Blitz, and this is the playoff edition. We have a few games on the docket this Friday, and we also have one on Saturday with St. Stephen's playing in the 2015 Florida Bowl, which is, I guess, their state championship for Sunshine State Athletic Conference teams. But first, we're going to get right into it and talk about Manatee High School because they're in Class 8A, Region 2. They start out in the quarterfinals. They have a home game. We have two teams at home and two on the road. The first Manatee playing at home against Orlando Oak Ridge. I think Manatee's going to have an easy cakewalk through to the second round.
If they keep playing like they have the past few weeks, putting 47 on Southeast, I know they should have beaten Southeast, but putting 47 on that team, which seems like it has a pretty good defense. I mean, it seems like right now they're really rolling.
They are, and it's kind of interesting to see with the Hurricanes because obviously last week they only had to play a half against their rival Southeast, which is really kind of, you don't really expect that, but they shut down Kevin Johnson, who got injured and didn't return, and that leads us into Southeast, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think that Manatee is playing very well. They've handled the opponents in front of them, and that's all you can really ask them to do. They rebounded after a slow start against Newsom High to take down a rival, and that's got to give them a lot of momentum. So moving down to Class 7A, Braden River is the other team in the area that has a home playoff game, and the Pirates are also coming off a big win.
Yeah.
Easily kind of coasting through a Gibbs team, which was without a very key player in DJ Johnson, who's the starting quarterback at Gibbs. He's counted for about 80% of their offense up to that point.
Tough.
It does. He had violated, I was told he had violated a team rule, therefore was being suspended for at least the first quarter, first half. Didn't even make the trip down. So they relied on Dexter Hodo, first game back from the suspension, 125 yards, and he ends up filling in for Raymond Thomas, and it worked really, really well.
Yeah, it's good that they found a running back, and Dexter Hodo returning from 3-game absence, right in time for the postseason. They got a chance to work him in, before he got a regular season game, a game that really ultimately didn't mean much, to kind of get used to playing running back. Did it pretty well, but their defense is probably what's gonna be the difference for them if they make a run in this postseason. They've been really good. They play a Gulf Coast team that runs a spread offense, and that'll be a good opportunity for their defensive backs to showcase their ability. And
that's what I was going to say. A lot of times it's kind of going to be kind of interesting to me because what I saw was, and this could have been, last game of the season, it's a long season and whatnot, but in the game against Gibbs, even with a backup quarterback for Gibbs, what they didn't really have, it didn't seem like they had really a set offensive play or anything. He just kind of ran around the pocket, kind of playground, little league type style, and wait for somebody to kind of get open. And they threw a lot of improvised things at Braden River and made a lot of completions in that first half, and actually got out to a quick start, and we're up on Braden River 6-0 out of the gate. So for the Pirates, it's going to be a good test for their secondary to see, okay, well, are we really up to the test to handle a spread offense?
Right.
And they've done it pretty well this year in the secondary with 20 interceptions. They have 25 takeaways, 20 picks. It's pretty good in 10 games.
Yeah.
So averaging 2 interceptions per game, that's pretty strong. And it's the first time that the program's been 10-0 in a year. Second back-to-back undefeated season. Last year they went 9-0 because they had a game against Booker that was canceled due to inclement weather. So here we go. I feel like Braden River's going to win.
Yeah, this is probably the one I feel most confident about this weekend.
Now we have to talk about Southeast. We're still unaware of the status of Kevin Johnson.
Right,
I think
without
Kevin Johnson, I think Southeast is up against it, going down to Fort Myers to play Dunbar. If he is in the lineup, I actually feel like Southeast could pull an upset because Dunbar has not played. They have not beaten any teams of note. The teams that they've beaten are a combined 318 winning percentage, and I think that's what it was, 318 winning percentage. They lost to 2 playoff teams, South Fort Myers, who happens to be in the same region as Braden River in Class 7A, and they also lost to Fort Myers. So I don't feel like either one of those teams is, that they've played, those are good playoff teams. It doesn't bode well for them playing a Southeast team that's played some tough competition.
Yeah.
If Kevin Johnson's healthy.
Yeah, I think both teams have pretty good defenses. Dunbar's got a handful of Division I guys on that unit. I mean, this probably will end up being low scoring, but Southeast needs Kevin Johnson if they want to pull an upset. He does pretty much everything for them on offense. He's the leading rusher in the county. He's playing quarterback for them now. He does pretty much everything. And without him, it'd be tough to imagine them being able to put together enough points to upset Dunbar.
I like Dunbar to win the game.
Yeah, I'll take Dunbar also, especially with Kevin Johnson at least banged up.
And Class 3A, where a 2-win team can make the playoffs, folks. We have Cardinal Mooney. They only won 2 games in the year, went 2-8. They just lost to Bayshore last week. They have to go across the state to Fort Pierce to play John Carroll. These two teams played in the 80s when they were in the same districts, same classification, I should say. And the state and the classifications and district assignments, and there's more schools now than there were back then. Cardinal Mooney kind of handed it to Fort Pierce or to John Carroll a little bit back then. A lot different. Times have changed. This John Carroll team is pretty strong all the way through. They've had a pretty good year. District champions. I don't feel like this is going to go very well for the Cardinal Mooney Cougars.
Yeah, I mean, tough trip, and like you said, they have only 2 wins on the year. They're playing without their starting running back. Props to them for getting into the postseason, but it's going to be tough for them to win in Fort Pierce.
How do you think? How do you think St. Stephen's is going to do? They're playing. It's a rematch game. They lost to the team that they're playing for this Florida Bowl for the SSAC title. Santa Fe Catholic out of Lakeland. How do you think they're going to do against a team that's they're kind of mirror images of each other with prolific offenses, and they like to score a lot of points, and their defenses aren't that terrible, but they both kind of give it up to each other a little bit.
Last time it was a 2-touchdown game in Lakeland, so now it's a neutral site. They're both going to be traveling. St. Stephen turned the ball over a lot in that game, something that they just haven't done a lot this year, although Fred Billy has thrown interceptions in each of their 2 playoff games. You have to think Santa Fe is the favorite. They beat them in the regular season. They won that division. But if St. Stephen's takes care of the ball, I think what should already be a close game will, really be pretty much a toss-up.
So, just to recap, do you think St. Stephen's can win the game?
I think they can. I would pick Santa Fe. I mean, they won the previous matchup, but St. Stephen's can definitely win this game.
I think St. Stephen's can make it a game too, but I'm going to stick with Santa Fe. So aside from that, the 4 FHSAA playoff games that we have on the docket, we're both picking.
I think we're all in agreement everywhere.
Right, that the two home teams are going to keep on fighting and have another game next week in the second round. We'll see if we're actually correct after this Friday's games. And until next week, this is Jason Dill for David Wilson, and we'll catch you on the flip side.